Good morning, everybody. Tara here with the Wifey Wake Up podcast. And good morning. It's a beautiful sunny morning here. I actually had to close the shades a little bit because it was just too bright. But hey, that is something we can deal with. Let's see. Here we go. Had an error with X. There we go. So good morning. Today's topic is a special one. You know, we all, the question is, what is your vision of family? And I think we all have an easy time envisioning something. It's the actually bringing it to fruition and then maintaining it that is very challenging. So first of all, please like, share, subscribe. If someone comes to mind during this podcast, please share it with them. My name is Tara, and I've been happily married for over 23 years. I'd like to say successfully married, particularly because, like anything, especially like in business, if you've been in business for 23 some years, you've had a lot of ups and downs. But I say successfully because in the end, what we've learned and who we've become is so much better than who were at the beginning. And I want that for you too. So this podcast are things that I wish I had known earlier in life and in marriage. And this is one of those things that I've had to adjust along the way. What is your vision of family? And also seeing around me so many people's relationships fall apart. And I think this has a clue, if not a great tip, on how you can not only bring to fruition what you think, what you envision as a family, but maintain that and help that to grow into different stages of life. So like I said, I think we all have an easy time imagining what we would like for a family. And that can be many pictures. I'm not even going into what that might look like. You can envision that. The challenge is, of course, with over 50% divorce rate, so many families being single families and broken apart. I think it's safe to say that that's not what most people envision. Most people envision a family of a nuclear family. And certainly in the Wifey Wake Up podcast and Wifey School, that is what we are centered around and focusing on. Just a moment. So I'd like you to take a moment and imagine, what is that ideal family to you? And I'm curious, is it a picture? Is it a movie? Is it a scene from an actual movie or an actual photo? So a few examples. I heard a man once say that his vision of a family was a Norman Rockwell painting. And I think it's the one, it's titled Freedom from Want, where they're essentially, it looks like it's a Thanksgiving gathering. My grandma, for example, mentions that her vision of a family was always, the quintessential white picket fence scenario. And mine, when I looked back, my parents were together when I was growing up. So I certainly had that modeled around me, but I think we all have our ideal vision, right? And mine was Little House on the Prairie, Ma and Pa Ingalls, and just how they made it through the tough times. They were sweet with each other, but, direct, taking care of business when it needed to be taken care of. And it's interesting. That's very much, I would say, how my marriage has developed, or who I sought as well. Pa Ingalls was always characterized as, he was tough and he was protective of his family, but he was also very caring. And that was the character in the series, right? I since looked up, I was curious when I was talking about him in an earlier, wasn't a podcast, but I turned him into shorts and such. He was a Cancer sign. And Cancer people are really known for being very naturally nurturing and caring. And my husband actually has a lot of that in his makeup as well. So it's interesting what we naturally gravitate towards, and that can inform us. That can tell us a lot about ourselves. So I'm curious, is your picture a still picture like that person who says, my vision was the Norman Rockwell painting? Is yours more more in your imagination, the white picket fence? Or was it actually a movie, a series, a show where there are actual characters that represent what you envision and what you want? And that it says a lot. It helps you to understand what your own ideals and expectations are. Are they in motion? Is there sound? Is there color? And if there's a repeating scene, for example, what do you see? And that tells you a lot about what your vision of family means to you. Then, of course, it is, does that vision match your husband or your spouse's vision? And that's where the rubber meets the road. So I'd like to draw this analogy. Imagine your life is a masterpiece, is a mural masterpiece. So something like the Sistine Chapel, something that is just absolutely amazing. And in one way or another will last for generations, whether people see it directly or not. The effects of it will last generations. And so you're tasked with building this amazing mural. And, like any great project, you develop a team, but you have this one person that is just your right-hand person, right? Your right-hand man in this scenario. And you devise a plan, and it's primarily the two of you that are building this mural, combined your murals together, right? And build this masterpiece together. Now, of course, you're going to pre-plan, you're going to sketch it out. You're going to, won't this be amazing over here? And then we'll do this over there. And then you start getting to work. And, things go, like any project, things go fine for a while. Then, there's certain weather, or someone gets sick, or you didn't realize that there was a divot in that part of the wall and you have to fill it in, or maybe you need to build reinforcement in another area, and that just ruins your plan for that whole section. And you have to adapt what you've already created with what you're envisioning in the future. I know I'm going on, but hopefully you get the point that building any masterpiece not only takes planning, it takes execution, and then also adaptation along the way. But what's important is that you're with your main person, is that you're communicating, holding on to that vision, but not being so committed to it that if something comes up, which it inevitably does in life, it doesn't totally throw you off, that you can adapt, work together, and create a new plan where and when needed. Now, the other challenge that comes up, and obviously this is a metaphor for life, right, is what happens when you complete that project? I've had this, there's a certain sense, if you've pre-planned, this is what I want to create, there's a sense of completion, right? Okay, we did that. And what then? And maybe it's not the perfect image of what you envisioned, but it's like, okay, we did that. We accomplished this, and this. Do you sit and admire it for a while? Do you maintain it? Do you start tweaking it? Do you make an addition? Do you get the bug to take on an entirely new large project with your partner? And I use partner in this sense because it's like a project, right? Or do you satiate that bug and start a new project with another person? Obviously, this is a metaphor, but by removing ourselves from the actual life situation, we can see things in a different light. And my question for you, something that I love for you to ponder, is, especially these days, it's so easy to get caught up in our daily activities, building towards that goal. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, we did it, or we got to this point, or maybe you got stuck at a certain phase and you do have to re-envision your plans together. And what I think is so key in order for a marriage to be successful, and my experience is, you do need to build that vision together. You do need to draw it out. You need to start working on it together. You need to carry that vision together. And if something comes up, you work on it together. And if you need a new plan, you make a new plan together. And when you've completed it, you need to decide and work towards another vision together. And I would say what I've seen in marriages also is you need to be careful of what is that next goal, because you can be so focused on that new addition or a new project that you forget to look back on what you've already created and appreciate, admire, and maintain that beautiful masterpiece that has already been created. And perhaps it doesn't need anything else other than your appreciation of it, your care, and your attention. And just that can fulfill you as well. And so be careful of the adding on and adding more, especially in this world these days that seems to ever push and encourage you to create, do, and be more. Oftentimes we really do have what we want currently. We've built it, we've accomplished it, and we just need to take a moment or a few consecutive moments and appreciate what we've built together. So I would love to hear from you on this. How does that relate to your life? What is your vision of a family? Where are you at in those stages? Where have you seen examples around you? Maybe it's your own parents that were together all along until the kids left. And then you could see bit by bit, or maybe in hindsight, you could see that they lost that vision. You know, their vision was to create a family together. But once that family was created, they didn't have anything beyond that they were envisioning together, maybe the next stage of life, and working on together. Using the word together a lot. It'd be interesting to have AI count how many times that's been said. I'd love to hear from you and what this metaphor meant to you as well. And I hope that this nugget can help you to maintain and thrive and have a successful marriage as well, whether you're currently in a marriage or that is something that you envision for your future. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Oh, and by the way, I do offer one-on-one consultations. You can simply text me. We can do a video chat, or I can send you a video. That's all at wifeyschool.us. That is in the description, and also in the description of this video on YouTube. And hope to hear from you. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful day.